Well, hello again. It's me. Okay, we'll go with this one. Again, something else I read in the press. I think it was over the weekend. It may even have been last week. I may have it wrong. I'm nearly right. There'll be a lot of stories I will have opinions on, and I may not get them 100% right, but they'll be nearest to the mark. We'll go with a place called, and this may be wrong in itself, but I'm sure it isn't, the Lyric Theatre. I think it's in London. Well, it was in London, the theatre I'm looking at. I think it was the Lyric. I read something in the paper last week by a concerned lady, and it made me ask myself, or want to ask others, what on earth are we doing at this moment in time with our women, our children, grandchildren, grandmothers, from the female side of things? What are we doing to them? Things are going crazy, if you ask me. I'm going to touch on, in the coming weeks and months, a lot to do with the hottest subject out there at this moment in time, gender, and all the things that entails. I'm not looking at doing that today, probably not for a few weeks. I want sort of a good few people on here first, so as they can form an opinion. I would imagine probably 70 or 80% of the things I would say people would be in agreement with. I would imagine the 20% to 30% that wouldn't, they'd be the worry, because they'd be the people that'd be shouting the loudest. Because we're in a situation in this country now where people really want to shout you down for having an opinion, more often than not when it's not contentious and when it's given in good faith and without any desire to offend or upset people, but they shout you down anyway. But I read this, and I've got a thing with the women of the world in many, many religions, many countries, many continents, being treated as second-class citizens. I think we in Great Britain, England, wherever you may want to class it at, we'll go with England. I think we're much more tolerant than most many others in civilization, in that we value women, and we know the part they play in our lives, and we know how hard they work and what they do and what they go through to get themselves to where they are. But I'm beginning to worry for women now for lots of reasons, and much of it is to do with change, changing the way businesses and governments see things and allow things, much to do with gender and a lot of what that entails. This thing I read, it's only something probably many would class as mine. I mean, I don't, but there was a lady there, I think she said she's watching a show at the Lyric Theatre, and she decides, and I think it's in the break, that sort of interlude, intermission, the break anyway in the show, she wants to go to the toilet. She was looking for the toilet she's used in the past, and it's not there anymore. There used to be a men's and a ladies' toilet there, maybe at the back of the auditorium, maybe upstairs. She did say it, I can't remember. And she goes looking for this toilet, and she finds that there's only one toilet now, and it's a unisex toilet, which some may say is fine. I'm not sure I would, but some may say it's fine. Some businesses are going that way. Again, I'm not saying I would agree with that, I'm not saying I understand it. But she says she's desperate to go to the toilet, so first she must go in. She doesn't feel comfortable about it, doesn't want to go in, but she says she makes her way into the toilet, and then she goes in through the door there. On the left-hand side, there's all what us men class as stones. I think they mention stones or troughs or whatever you may. And there's men lining up there having a pee. Some of them are waiting to have a pee. I think she has to go to the right-hand side of the room where there's a cubicle. I'm pretty sure as well there was only one cubicle, which I doubt that would be the case. Maybe I've read that wrong, and maybe I've forgotten, because I can't see one cubicle virtually servicing the whole of the upstairs if it was in the circle upstairs. But whether it's 3 or 4 cubicles, that's immaterial. But she says as she's going in there, you don't just sort of necessarily see the men there having a pee, or queuing up to have a pee. But with some of them, the ones nearest to you, I think you can actually see them having a pee. So you're seeing probably everything. Now, I'm not sure the guys themselves want this to be the case. Well, not everybody's an exhibitionist. There's probably guys with something there to show that end up, when the women walks in, they end up with walnut whips there rather than something to show, because they're embarrassed to to be caught having a pee. You've got the woman there then that's got to go to the toilets, the cubicle. There may already be somebody in, so she may be queuing. There's lots of guys in there, so a woman's maybe going to feel threatened because there's maybe a lot of males in there and she might be the only female in there. Maybe the toilet area smells more than it normally would because I think many of us guys aren't as clean and as tidy as the ladies are. You go into the cubicle, maybe there's big guys in there first. They may be doing number ones and not lifting the seat up. I know I'm being too graphic here, but it's got to be said. They may be doing number twos and not flushed, but they may have flushed. All the toilet paper may have gone because they've used it. You know, I know many women, family members included, that won't go to the toilet anywhere out of the house or out of the normal surroundings. Definitely not for a number two. I'm sorry to be graphic, but I am. I don't know how that... I know many that won't go into work. They'll wait till they get home to go to the toilet. And the workplace might be really clean and really nice and, you know, nothing wrong with it. But they'll wait till they get home. Maybe on a night out, when they maybe have had a meal before a show, and maybe even been drinking, maybe if they need teaching, you've really got to go, But are you going to want to go to a toilet where it's shared with males? Would you go to the toilet and do certain things in a toilet when it's women only that you wouldn't do with males in there? I know many women, and again, I'm sorry it's graphic, that don't even like the idea of doing a number one in there, and the sound that comes from it as it hits the water, as it hits the pan. They probably wouldn't feel bad with women only, but they probably would with fellas in there. And I don't know, I know there's women like that, but that's by the by. But the thing is, why should a woman have to go into a shared toilet if she doesn't want to? If they've canvassed this and canvassed it heavily and asked the opinion of maybe however many hundred women, and probably 95 or 98% of those women say, yes, I'm happy to go in a unisex toilet, then fine. If they just thought, let's just go ahead with it because this is the way things are going now, then it's just shocking and I just don't get it. My youngest daughter's late 20s now, good grief, no, early 30s. But I don't want her going in the toilets full of men. I've got a granddaughter of 5 and 6. I don't want them going in men's toilets or shared toilets. I don't want that. I don't know how women feel. I don't know how anyone that may listen to this, be it now or in weeks to come, it's more likely to be weeks to come because it's only going to be in weeks to come. Somebody tells you there's somebody on there venting about things that interest you, things that you've mentioned in the past. So that really is it. I have got a couple more things to say without getting to the full gender thing, to do with things like competing in sports events, men as women, women as men, and so on and so forth. Changing rooms, unisex changing rooms. Men are men who identify as women in female toilets, because I read another story in the same newspaper a couple of weeks ago that I thought was absolutely shocking. It's one I won't use for now, but we'll do it later this week or next week. Just, again, another story which I won't be 100% right on, in that I'll have forgotten some bits of what I've read, but I'll be 95% right on it. You know, no one could ever call me for relaying the story totally wrongly. And I read it and I thought to myself, what's going on in this world? You know, it's just crazy. But anyway, Lyric Theatre, I think you've got it wrong, and I would say shame on you. But that's just my opinion, and if you follow this channel ever further down the line, you'll find I've got plenty.